Hello and welcome to another episode of Parliamentary Conversations in the Commonwealth, the CPA podcast focusing on some of the most critical issues for parliamentarians across the world. We have a very special guest joining us today about conversations surrounding neutrality and parliamentary integrity, Honourable Lau Weng, 12th Speaker of the Selangor State Legislative Assembly. Would you like to introduce yourself to our audience? And thank you so much again for deciding to join us today.
First of all, I'd like to express my gratitude to Melanie and the team from CPA headquarters for the invitations. I would like to introduce myself to your audience. My name is Lau Weng San, but don't put it wrongly. My surname is actually Lau. I'm a Malaysian of Chinese ethnicity, and we used to put our surname first. I am currently the 12th Speaker of Selangor State Legislative Assembly from Malaysia. I was previously a three-term assemblyman in two constituencies. I served as the Adun, we call it Adun, or State Assembly person for Kampong Tungku for 2 terms, 10 years. I changed my constituency. I moved to a place called Pantin in the district of Kuala Langat, semi-rural, semi-urban constituency in 2018, and I served in that constituency for 1 term. So currently I'm no longer having or representing any constituency in the assembly, and I am actually, you can say that I am actually a full-time speaker of the house.
Yes.
I got an engineering degree in chemical engineering from the University of Malaya.
Yeah.
I graduated in 2002. I returned to my alma mater to continue my to start another degree courses in Bachelor of Jurisprudence. In 2013, I successfully graduated from the university in 2018, and now I also just passed the Certificate of Legal Practice in the year of 2024. So these are my academic achievements. So that's my brief introductions about myself.
Thank you very much and congratulations on your new endeavors on your academia. So just speaking about your background, you are the first non-MLA speaker in Selangor since 2008. So how does serving as a non-MLA influence your neutrality and the way you've run the assembly?
I think being a non-MLA members occupying the seats of the speakers, it gave me more time and more chances and more opportunities to directly involve in managing how the assembly should run. Unlike, of course, my predecessors, they have a constituency to look after, and in Malaysia, in a country like Malaysia, you have a very diversified constituents. You do not really have times for your own self, and of course, being in these positions without a constituency to look after, I think it gave me a lot of times to really look into all the unfinished jobs that my predecessors have left behind, so that I will be able to focus more on it and to manage and redistribute the resources more effectively to make our assembly more vibrant, to give more thinkings to how our assembly should look like. Without worrying that I need to also allocate times for my constituency works. Well, I think this is the biggest difference if you want to compare between speakers in the past with a constituency and the speakers now without a constituency. But also because in theory, if you have a speakers who is not a member of any constituency, who is not a representative of any constituency, you are expected to carry out the proceeding in a more neutral manner, in a more independent manner, in a more in a situation, and in situation when there are heated debates, especially issues on constituencies. I think being a speaker with experiences in handling constituency problems, with experience of more than 15 years, I think it is actually an added advantage. And therefore, I think this is a situation that I am having now, and I think this is something that it's worth exploring in future. If at all, we need to have a speakers who is a non-MLA member.
What would you say does neutrality mean in the context of the Selangor legislative system, in your personal experience? Is it really important? Is it really important for you, and especially in the democratic process?
Yes, it is very important. And in a state like Selangor, when we have 22 non-government MLAs, members of the Legislative Assembly, we have to ensure that sufficient times were also given to issues, questions, and business from the oppositions. Currently, we have actually 21 opposition members and 1 independent members. That is Lakang, and we were going to talk about him later. And the remaining of them are actually backbenchers and frontbenchers, altogether 34. And out of 34 members from the government side, there are 11 who are occupying the executive role in the government. So if you do the mathematics, 34 minus 11, we are left with 23 backbenchers in the House. So the situation in the House is actually quite balanced. You have 21 oppositions, 1 independents who was ex-opposition members, and we have 23. So in terms of seats allocations for memberships in select committees, in terms of the arrangement of questions times, in terms of arranging the sequences for them to put up the questions, and in terms of allocating times for them to deliver their speeches, I am doing it in a manner that it's that every member in the House is treated fair and square. For example, in 2023, we started off for any debate on any motions or bills, every member will be given, say, for example, 5 minutes. I have managed to increase the time slot allocated to each member from 5 minutes to 10 minutes last year, when we debate and pass the budget. That is actually a huge improvement. And every member is given sufficient time. Yeah. Everybody will have the 5 minutes. Everybody, if you have 5 minutes, the other side will have 5 minutes. If you have 10 minutes, the other side will have 10 minutes. So it's up to you to decide how you want to use your time effectively. On top of that, I also encourage and ensure that motions and questions from the oppositions are given equal considerations. I would say equal, it means that my decisions made in the House, is not based on any political biasness, but it's based on the four corners of the wall. Yeah. Yeah. If there's an argument put up by the oppositions, they must ensure that it is within the four corners of the law, it is within the four corners of the constitutions and the four corners of the standing order. If it doesn't fulfill any of the conditions imposed on any of the members as enshrined in the law on paper, then it will not be approved. And if it is approved, it must be because it has already complied with what was written in the law. Yes. And the executive ought to answer them and provide an explanations to the questions and issues they raised. Yes. And of course, in Selangor, we are thankful that we are in an open environment, an open society, and executive, a lot of times they do not shy away from answering questions. They are used to dealing with issues and questions raised by the oppositions. After all, we were once upon a time oppositions. That was before 2008, and I do not foresee any problems for them to handle questions and answers from the oppositions in my assembly now.
Yes, and that's really, really important for democracy as well. You've done a great job on that, I must say, and that's a really nice segue into the Selangor ruling that I want to draw attention to. Can you talk me through the process behind that important decision and how you came about?
To answer these questions, the audience may need a little bit background
Context,
of how we come about with this anti-hopping law.
Yes.
The members from Selangor was previously a member of Persatu, Parti Persatu, a political party formed in 2016. He contested in that seat in 2018. He was once our EXCO members. He retained a seat in the 2023 elections as a Persatu member on the Persatu ticket, and he won the seat. Now what happened was that when we passed the anti-hopping law, both at the federal level and also at the state level, it has been written very clearly that any members of the House who were sacked by their party shall not relinquish and vacated the seat, because we want to ensure there was a voice, or there was a school of thought that says that we must protect the rights of associations and the rights of opinions of the member of the House. And therefore, if we have members who may not share the same view and opinion as the party leaderships, he must be entitled to his own view, and he cannot be penalized because of having a different opinion. Because of that, the provisions in our anti-hopping law does not provide for the vacations of a seat held by such members, if at all he has different opinion with his party leadership. That is because the party leadership can use this provision to coerce any of his members who is also an elected representative to follow the tune. So that's the reason why this provision is not in our anti-hopping law. It is taken out. But we also have a dilemma. Does that mean that the members will have the full rights to jump from one party to another party? So we need to have a countermeasure on that. And of course, the minister who were then answering these questions in the parliament is currently the state governor for the state of Sarawak. And he said it in the parliament, recorded in the Hanson, that it is up to the political party to explain and to amend in the party constitution, if at all they agree that those or any of their own elected representatives who refuse to follow instructions from the party leaderships, for example, in deciding who shall be the Prime Minister of the next government, he or she will be regarded as ceased to be the member of that political party. And because of that operations, he will be caught. This situation will be caught by the anti-hopping law. Because in our anti-hopping law, we say that if a member ceases to be a member of the political parties that he contested based on that ticket, then he will have to vacate his seats. Now, so some political parties amended their constitutions, some didn't, and the problem is that the interesting part is that his party did not amend the constitutions. Yeah. So he contested in the elections using the ticket of Persatu without the party constitutions of Persatu amended to reflect this. And of course, the long and short I want to put is that if the constitution is a contract, these members of Salat Klan probably have a contract with his party, and that is the constitutions, and the constitution does not say this thing. So after that, he expressed his view that he should not support, he should support the government, say for example. Yeah. He should support the new leadership, another leadership. Can the political party, exercise any provisions in the anti-hopping law to apply to the speaker to vacate his seat? Of course, they can apply, but it's the decisions of the speaker must be made based on the four corners of the law.
Yes.
I examined that. I found out that, in fact, the decision that Datuk Rashid, the members, took was actually decisions made before the party amended the constitutions. I think they found out that they have this problem, and they are having a taste of their own poison. So the moment when Datuk Rashid made that decisions, eventually they amended the constitutions, and then they wrote into the speakers and to apply to vacate the seats. So the whole sequence is like that, and therefore I have made the decisions because of that. The constitution is actually a contract. You cannot amend a contract, impose new condition without securing the agreement from the other contracting party. And then you come to me and say that the other side is against the new provision in the new contract. So because of that, and of course I and my team managed to find a case law from UK, and we applied it in our legal reasoning. The interesting part is that unlike other speakers who may issue press statement or letters to explain and inform them the decisions, I choose a way that I think is more proper. That is, I read out my judgment or decisions openly in the court for everybody to listen, because our assembly is broadcasted live, so everybody will be able to listen to it, and that's it. I don't want to make any further comment outside, and because I would also want to make our house the source of information. It's not any press conference outside the chamber, but it is within these chambers, within the house, within the sitting and the proceeding itself.
That's perfectly understandable, and that definitely speaks about your democratic integrity and how you basically safeguard the legislative in a way. So it's quite impressive as well. So in that,
I think it's time for people to start to look at us as speakers to be more like a judge. But of course, the additional qualities that we need to have is that we must be knowledgeable, we must have the experience, we must be very familiar with the issues that we are dealing with. And the most challenging part is that, and that is actually not required of a judge in a court of judiciary, is that they can stand down. We can't. We have to deal with a lot of situations on a first-hand basis, and we have to make decisions quick and fast. And we must be able to explain it. We must be able to quote the laws and the provisions that we have, so that people understand and agree, and they are not creating additional argument in the house that could make the whole proceeding uncontrollable. I think that is actually a kind of quality that we must have, and if we are able to demonstrate that quality to the audience, to the people, I think the trust in our institutions will be increased, because people will say that, look, that's the law. The speaker has said it out, whether you agree to him or not, but he has actually explained it out. There are case law for him to study. These are the words in the laws. So what is your case? If you have a case against him, you must make sure that you must prove the otherwise to the speakers, and the speakers must act on it professionally.
That's really a good point. That's a really, really good point. And that basically almost speaks to the legacy that you want to leave behind for the Selangor Legislative Assembly. But what other things would you say, if someone that was coming into your position, what advice would you give them about integrity, about neutrality, and about basically making sure that the rule of law is standard?
I think it's not easy because, of course, in Selangor, unlike UK, when you have speakers elected to the positions, he will have to relinquish his positions as a member of any political parties. Of course, in the rest of the Commonwealth worlds, even in some of the most advanced countries like Australia, you don't see this happening, and certainly it is also not happening in Malaysia. But we try to put it this way, that speakers in Malaysia normally does not hold political positions in the party. At the moment, I do not have any positions in my party. I remember the previous speakers of Dewan Rakyat, our House of Commons, Tan Sri Pandika. He was previously a member of UMNO. I think when he was appointed as the speakers of the House, he also resigned all his party positions in his political party. I think that is the minimum that we must do for our speakers, so that on the surface people will see you as somebody who will be able to manage the proceeding of the House effectively without being bound by parties' decisions. And at the same time, I think we need to ask and persuade people to buy in. Even though I may not have any political positions in the party, but I need to make friends, maintain a good and cordial relationship with both the government's bench, the executive bench, as well as the opposition members and the leaders, because I need them to cooperate with me, so that our assembly will be conducted in a peaceful manner, in an effective manner. I think I have an additional advantage here, because if you look at the compositions of our government here in the State Legislative Assembly, those who were once upon a time, those who are now oppositions, were previously parts of the government. Of course, we have an UMNO EXCO members in the executive branch. We also have another UMNO backbenchers in the government, and previously they were our rivals. So you have friends. You have friends who were previously your opponent, and you had your friends who were previously your chief minister, now working on the other side against you as your opponent. It's a very interesting situation here. So because of that, I always advise them that look, I think if there is any request, a legitimate request from the oppositions, it is good if the government can tackle them, because there's no way you can run away from them. They know how it works. Just explain to them the whole situations and we move on. And of course, I also would like to advise the oppositions, because previously they were friends, they were from the same party, they were holding government positions, and they know some of these things were legacy issues. So they should be able to understand the logic behind this, and they should be able to ask better questions rather than harping on some minor issues. And I think so far, so good, it works. A lot of people are very worried if I am able to control the proceeding of the House, because we have, in fact, this time, since 2008, the House that I am having now is the House that has the most number of oppositions. When Datuk Teng Chang Kim was the Speaker then, we have 20. And then we moved to the Honorable Hannah Yeoh, the next speaker from the DAP. She has, I think, 13. I think it's 13 opposition members. Then the next one, Dato' Ng Swee Lim, we have, I think, probably 5 or 6 opposition members. And then all of a sudden, we have 22 from the oppositions. So it is actually, a lot of people regard it as a big challenge for me, but thanks God, I think everything moves quite smoothly. Everybody knows what are the do and don'ts, and at the moment we are still a very happening assembly. We have very hot-heated and lively debate, but at the same time, everybody is following the rules and orders in the House. Yeah, that makes our assembly a little bit more outstanding than the rest.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
And I think, how would you say you are able to manage all the different relationships that you require to manage in the position that you're in right now?
I think it's through my decisions. Because we have already established this kind of practices since the time of Dato' Teng Chang Kim, and therefore I think I should not have problem dealing with them, because the rules have been set that we have to act professionally and equally to all members of the House without regarding to their political positions. We also have a lot of select committees. We have 10 select committees at the moment. The oppositions have between 2 to 3 in each of these select committees. The PAC is actually chaired by the opposition leader himself, and the opposition leader was previously a chief minister for 4 years, from 2014 to 2018. They were given some liberty to do what they need to do and have never interfered in how the PAC works. I think in the select committee level, we can see that the working relation between among the members, whether they are from oppositions or from the government, are more cordial, are more cohesive. I think we have already built this kind of environment and culture since 2008, and there shouldn't be any problem for us to work together and to build networks and relations with them. In fact, some of the CPC, you can see in many of the CPC, the Selangor team has always been the largest, and one of the reasons why we are the largest delegations, because we also include at least 1 to 2 opposition members in our delegations, and they are actually being, we must bring them around so that they will be able to attend and to explore and exchange views on different issues related to parliamentary democracy. And I think now we also have an annual retreat, and the annual retreat is something that is open to all members. We do not divide them and differentiate them between oppositions and government MPs. So I think these are the practices that we are doing in order to make everybody satisfied and happy with how the assembly is managed.
That sounds really good. So yeah, it sounds like there's a bit of political harmony that's happening because
true.
Some of the work that you've been doing in your position. So in terms of the future for Malaysia and lawmakers of the future generation, is there anything that you would like to say to them that would speak to you from your experience?
I think they need to be knowledgeable, and if you want to be knowledgeable, reading is a habit that you cannot avoid. Legislators in Malaysia must start picking up books or magazine in order to improve their knowledges on different issues, because we are in a situation when information can be available anytime, anywhere. That also means we are also in a situation where we have to handle crises and issues almost every now and then. There is almost zero buffer for you to maneuver or for you to move around. Legislators and elected representatives are actually expected to work around the corner, and they must be effective. And I think the first criteria for them to deal with this kind of situation is that they must have a reading habit so that they will be able to pick up experiences and knowledges from other people and apply them in their daily lives. This is my single most important advice to legislators outside, whether they are first-term MP or they are young or old MP, or they are female or male MP, or they are MP with special disabilities. I think this is something, this is a must for them. Otherwise, I don't see how we can contribute value-added services to our people and to our works as legislators. I want to touch a bit on legacy issues, and of course this is also the single most important issues that we in Selangor must do, that is to get our Selangor State Legislative Service Act passed. We do not have one, for your information, and the one in Parliament was abolished I think more than 30 over years ago. The Federal Parliament has just re-enacted the bill, the act, in 2025, and now they are in at the stage of applying it and implementing it. We hope that during my term, Selangor State Legislative Assembly can also enact our own Service Act. We tried to do that in 2008 and 2009. We could not succeed because of constitutional problems, because the bill that we proposed to pass back then was said to be against the constitutions. True, the federal parliament last year have to amend the constitution first so that they can pave the way for them to pass a law on Parliamentary Service Act. That was at the parliament level, at the federal level. We at the state level, we could not do that until the constitutions, the federal constitution is amended. It was amended last year. So I hope with the remaining time we have in the State Assembly, we will be able to pass this law by this year or at least early 2027, so that Selangor can again be the first state legislative assembly in Malaysia that passed this very important law for us. And if we can do that, this will be a mission accomplished for us, because for 3 speakers, they are unable to get this law passed. And I want to stop the buck here.
Yes.
I don't want to pass the buck to my successor. I want to get this done this time, this term.
And why would you say it's a very important thing for you personally for this law to be passed?
If you attend Commonwealth Parliamentary conferences, you can see that there are a lot of branches in the Commonwealth world that has already got their own legislative services act or Parliamentary Service Act that governs the full separations of powers between the executive and also the legislative. Without this act in place in Malaysia, we cannot say that we are actually implementing the separations of power, because executive are still having a strong influence on how the legislative should run, especially in terms of financial management, in terms of human resource, and also appointment to important positions in the Legislative Assembly. We will still be relying on manpower from civil service, which in other cases, in other countries, this is not the case, because the civil service are only handling services for the executive branch of the government. The legislative will have to handle their own legislative service. The clerk, the driver, the researchers, the managers, the chief clerk, and all these positions, they should not be appointed by the executive, because at the end of the day, who should they answerable to? Are they answerable to the chief secretary of the civil service department, or they are answerable to the speakers and the institutions of speakers? So I think we need to ensure that this clear division is being drawn, and without an act on Parliamentary Service Act or a legislative service bill, we will not be able to do this.
And that definitely reflects on, again, the topic of parliamentary integrity as well, and the separation of powers is very, very important.
The neutrality, the integrity, the professionalism, and things like that.
Yes, it's very important.
So if Selangor is a state that champions parliamentary reform all this while, we should and must make sure that this will happen this time. We have to do it when there's an open, where there's a window, because the windows of opportunity does not always exist. So we must grab it and hit it when the iron is still hot.
Of course. And hopefully by the time maybe we have another podcast interview, that law would have passed as well. So I wish you well on that.
Thank you.
On that note, I want to thank you so much for your insight, your journey from activism to leadership, and where you are right now. And I very much admire your tenacity for constitutional reforms and responsibility, and how much you follow the rule of law, because it's very important in the world that we're in right now, and democracy being at the forefront of what the CPA is trying to do as well. So thank you so much
Thank you.
for joining us as well.
Thank you for your invitation again, and I hope to share more inside news with your audience in times to come.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Parliamentary Conversations in the Commonwealth, the CPA's podcast. You can find out more about our work on our website at cpahq.org, or you can follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, X, or Blue Sky.